Hello, plant friends. I'm going live today with my dear friend Annalisa Lemming. We're going to be talking about growing through different seasons of life, nature life parallels, the sister wound. We're having a great conversation pending a guest appearance I made on her podcast, Soulful Ambition. I hope you're all well. While we wait for Annalisa to arrive, I will show you my plants. Actually, why don't I show you the gorgeous bouquet of hand-grown flowers I picked for myself. We've got geranium, zinnia, cosmos, and this is bolted cilantro actually, and it's in a flower frog, and I keep it at my desk, and it's been making me so happy. Okay, here's Annalisa. This shadow getting cast on my face. Annalisa should be joining us now. I'm so excited. Hello, beauty.
Hello.
Oh my God, you're so sunny and blonde. I love it. Okay,
Well, you're so sun-kissed. I love that.
Yes. Well, I've learned self-tanner. I've learned the beauty of since my melanoma, I'm like scared of the sun,
Right.
but I miss my tan. So I was like, oh, right. A lot of people do self-tanner. This is my new journey.
It's a thing.
I was like,
Okay.
"Cool."
I kind of forgot about
I
that too.
forgot about that too. I'll give you offline all my tricks and
Okay.
tips.
Great.
Welcome, friend. How wild is this that we're doing an Instagram live, not about
Oh
Broadway?
my gosh, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Let's begin this conversation by talking about all of the different seasons of life that we have both grown through, ebbed and died back, and grown and receded and gone dormant and bloomed. You have boldly moved through so many seasons of life in the years that I've known you. So, do you want to give yourself a brief introduction to whoever's joining us today or watching the recording and letting us know how you've gotten to be the leader and founder of Soulful Ambition?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm Annalisa, and gosh, performing was like my one true love for as long as I can remember,
Yeah.
like since probably age 3. Never could imagine myself doing anything else. And I did it, moved from Tennessee to New York City, and had a beautiful, beautiful career
How many Broadway
until
shows were you in?
4.
Four. Epic.
4. And I turned down what would have been my 5th Broadway show, and moved across the country to Colorado to be in this next phase of life. And I'm a full-time coach now, and I've had my podcast since I was performing, but that's shifted as well. So um, I'm in a season of my life right now, actually, where I am being asked to stop building and growing
Mm,
externally and be present with actually what I've built and grown.
mm.
And it is so effing uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a season of being with little ones and my clients um, and myself.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so soulful ambition is that. It's like, well, how do you have, I mean, I think that I still have desires and longings,
Hmm.
but they're so tethered in a different way to soul and alignment and presence and being. And it
Hmm.
looks so different than anything I've ever done before.
Yeah, I love the two words together because it's still ambition, right? It's just
Yeah.
that the ambition looks differently. And I think about, so you and I know each other. For those who don't know, Annalise and I used to, do the Broadway performing thing together. And we met in concerts in Germany. We were flown to Germany by this foundation to go do like 10 days of concerts. We didn't know each other. There were 4 or 5 of us, and Annalise and I were the only 2 girls and immediately bonded. But in that season of life, neither of us were married. You had met your partner, but you weren't engaged yet, because I remember talking about you getting
Mm.
engaged. Um, and we were both hustling pretty hard for our big dreams of being on Broadway. And I've watched you, bloom and bloom and bloom in your first show and your second show. And I've been so lucky. I think I've seen you in all 4. I don't remember,
Wow.
but I've seen you in most of them. Yeah. And you've bloomed and you've become, you built this really robust expression of what that dream was. And then you have kind of let it die back, and then to allow to step into this new phase. So as you've been transitioning, like before you made the big transition to Colorado, like what did that look like in your decision making process, in how you let go of that identity that was tethered, to the robust expression that you had built.
That's such a good question, and I wish it was like easy,
Yeah.
but it's so nonlinear. I think one of the biggest things was when I started realizing it was so during the pandemic,
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
did like shut down.
Shut down.
And so we
Our
were
industry evaporated
evaporated.
in front of our eyes. Yeah.
But I was also 6 months pregnant.
Right.
And so it was this like beautiful gift for me to
Mm.
cocoon and have
Hmm.
this extended maternity leave that I would not have
Yeah.
had. And so like that changed me. That like was a transition into mother. And then what I realized is when I started to have desires to create something again, normally it would be like, let's get back into acting class. Everybody was taking
Mm-hmm.
acting classes, even online,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no desire to. All I wanted to do was pick up books about psychology and listen to podcasts around that, and do the paradox process facilitation. Like I was like, this is so weird. I should get new headshots. I should want to do these things. So there was a lot of like noticing the shoulding, but then noticing that typical desire wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
um, and questioning that and sitting with it. I'd say was a really big piece of it, and then ultimately going like, then I started building a practice of coaching and facilitating for others, and I loved it. And Broadway was coming back, and I had a show lined up, and I said to one of my dearest friends, like, I kind of just want to do this other thing, but how do you actually turn it down? And I couldn't. I had to sort of have it taken away from me. It
Yeah.
wasn't, but it was, for me to really step away. So I would like to say that it was this, like, oh, it was so clear, and I just like walked away, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I think it's brave. I mean, even to allow yourself to say, well, I think, like, you mentioned the shoulding. Like, I feel like I should be wanting to go back to acting class. I should feel like I should. To me, that feels like ego, right? It's like, for me,
Mm-hmm.
so much of my ego was wrapped up in my identity and my experience as a Broadway performer. And I feel like I went through the same exact experience of you, as like, I should be wanting to go back to auditions. I should be networking. I should be emailing all these people or whatever. And I didn't have it in me, like,
Mm.
but I feel like a lot of people, out of fear, will just live their life and do those shoulds,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
continue to take action on those shoulds, because it's like, no, this is what I was trained to do, this is what I've done for the last decade. Yeah, the pandemic was rough, but like, this is what I will continue to do. And I think both you and I had these visions of like dying on Broadway, like being on, maybe you, maybe not as much. I don't remember if yours was all the way to 65. Mine was like dying in a dressing room, like on Broadway. And to allow yourself, when you attach to this vision of what you think your life should look like, to allow yourself to even entertain something else when you're so tethered, a great word that you used. Um, what did that look like for you? Was it easy to kind of say things out loud and start changing? Were there tools in your toolkit? You're a licensed paradox process. Like, you're a licensed coach. You've gone through so many different, you've become a coach, and also you've been coached so much. Like, what were the tools in allowing for you to kind of explore the changing of these seasons?
I think I think because I know what it is to have that deep desire towards what it is that I'm doing, like more than anything, it was like I've always followed that. That's always
Mm-hmm.
been the North Star and on my compass. And so I just sort of kept, well, this is what's lighting me up. And okay, maybe an audition comes up, I tape it, but I didn't push
Yeah.
too hard into what I should do. So because I kept following it, and I think there's this comfort that I have in risk because
Mm-hmm.
I it's just part of who I am,
Yeah.
perhaps, maybe. And it was just like, well, let's see what happens. And I think also the knowing that how temporary everything is. So it's like, let's see what this is, because I can go back. And I think that that's a lot of what people do, is we think, well, I'm closing that door. I'm closing it
Mm-hmm.
forever. And what that means about me. And it's like, I could move back. I've looked at homes in New York City, like since we've left, be like, should we go back
Yeah.
in times of where it's been hard here? So I would say those are things that definitely helped me. And then that being very discerning when I knew that my ego was super involved, and knowing, like I said to my therapist at the time, like, if I leave, I know this is like, this is my ego talking, but I need to say it out loud. I know that's the thing that makes me extraordinary. And
Mm.
so if I go to the mountains of Colorado and I meet somebody, I'm not going to say, "Hi, I'm Annalisa, I'm a Broadway actor." So then who am I?
Who am I?
And but that, while that scared me, that thrilled me to
Yeah.
discover.
And on the other side of that, what did going to Colorado and meeting new people, like, how do you introduce yourself? Like, what does that look like?
It's such a wild experience, Maria, because I meet my ego in it every time.
Mm,
And I
me
have this
too.
game with myself where I'm not going to talk about it. And I'm like, you're not going to talk about it. It's not going to come up. Even if people are like, "Oh, what'd you do in New York?" Like, "Oh," like I'll say theater, but I don't go immediately to like Broadway because I want to challenge myself that that's
Mm,
not like who you are. But then on the flip side of it, it's like, if somebody was a lawyer, like, why
yeah.
is it like, what, like, that is a fact of who you are and what you did. So just watching and playing with myself of yes, but that's not who you are. And if people respond with, "Whoa, you did what?" Like catching that,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, that's really cool. And this is who I am now,
Yeah.
or it's a wild ride.
I think too, because I'm in the
Yeah.
same boat, right? Like we have such interesting parallel lives where like I also moved to the country and I went through a very similar experience, but now I I'm finding that I'm so proud of
Yeah.
it. And instead of, 4 years ago when I was like, it's my identity, and when I'm in a show, I'm confident and embodied, and when I'm
Yeah.
not in a show, I'm hating myself. Now, like, it was me, like it was 100% my identity. Now the fact that I used to be a theater performer, like, is a fun
Yeah.
fact that like I tell at
Yeah.
parties. And like, I've made this group of friends up here, and it was probably a year or so before they ever heard me sing because I like did karaoke at this random bar with 4 people in it, and a couple of my friends were there. And now it's fun. Like, now I've let it become a little like hot brag of, well, this is one of the things I've
Yeah.
done, but like, look at all these other things I've done. And it's so interesting. But it's like, it allows, it's like I'm a garden with more diverse
Yeah.
flowers now instead of just like one type of rose blooming. It's like now I have like all these different things.
Mm,
Um,
I love that.
which is kind of fun. It's been like a cute little flex I've been doing lately. And
I love it.
maybe my ego's involved, or maybe not. I don't care. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like, in this new situation, I'll play with it. And then the next one, I'll try something different. It's like, yeah, I think I love that. I love that you're doing that.
And you've had iterations too. Like, you just went, not just, now this was a couple months ago now, but like now you do a lot of concert work. So you get to take your decade of experience as a performer into concerts, which is a whole different ball game as well, right?
Yeah. 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 And that is fun because I like see the people on my street and they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I don't know, sing in Oklahoma," or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? And they're like, "What?" "What do you do?"
But
I'm like,
what?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fun
exactly.
little
What?
thing.
You're not just Gabe's mom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, how have all of these transitions that you've gone through fed the work that you do now as a coach? Because now you're primarily, if someone was to ask you, what do you do for a living? Your answer isn't I sing on Broadway. It's I'm a coach,
Coach.
I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
How has that fed your work now?
I love that question. Well, for one, when people come to me and they have a big desire, I'm like, "All right, let's go. I
I
know that
see
place."
you. Yeah.
And I also am here to say, even if you reach that tallest mountain that you're reaching for, it's not everything. And so how do we do it in the most soulful way possible, where you
Mm,
don't lose yourself, or you, well, of course you'll lose yourself, right? But where you find yourself over and over again. So I'd say that's like one of the biggest ways. And then also holding the transitions for others, even though I still kind of feel like I'm in a
mm,
transition as well. But so then I get to sit with people and be like, I'm with you. Like, I'm
yeah.
with you. And I don't know what's on the other side yet. But here, I think something that I do is like, I'm just so devoted to the
Mhm.
intentionality. And so that's what I'm bringing to the space. And I think it's just so easy in our culture and society to get wrapped up in what we should want.
Yeah.
And so to have a place to land and be like, but is this my deepest longing and my deepest desire, and to really begin to tune in and listen,
Mm-hmm.
um, is just so fun. So that's what I'm bringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so important to have someone be able to see you and also remind you of who you are in those transitional moments, because you can get so spinning off into the stratosphere of, is this the right move? You have your moments of bravery where you're like, yes, I am going to take the next step. And then you have the moments of contraction after and whatever. And to have an unbiased party whose bias in you making sure, like, who, if their only bias is, I'm here to make sure you feel soulful and aligned in whatever decisions you make. And I'm not your parents, and I don't have any, vested interest beyond like your success. I think that's so important. And so your podcast used to be a balancing act. Now it's soulful
Yeah.
ambition. How have have the conversations changed that much? I know I've been a guest in a
Yeah.
balancing act, and now I've recently
Yeah.
just been a guest in soulful ambition. Like how has that evolved for you?
Well, it's much more fulfilling for me because I'm not just talking about performing anymore, and that's
Yeah.
not who I am. And so letting that die, like letting
Mm,
that die was definitely a period of questioning, but then knowing like, no, this is like how I really want to serve now, and the conversations that I want to have, and trusting that 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 will serve beyond me as well. So I would say, just having these conversations with guests like yourself and others that support not just performers, but
yeah.
anybody who wants to kind of go after their deepest longings in a soulful way. From shadow work, we talk a lot about shadow stuff, embodiment. Oh gosh, I mean the whole gamut. So it's just not so quite so narrowed and
Yeah.
niched in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I was just a guest on Soulful Ambition. You and I have said it was such a great conversation. Like I've shared, with my followers, it's stuff I've never talked about publicly before, but we talked about the sister wound.
yeah,
And I wanted to talk a little bit about it with you today, because I think as I wake up, I think to, these like there's so much terminology. There's so much that, we don't know. The sister wound, this concept that women don't trust other women. Like we've been so conditioned. And you and I shared in the podcast, we have been very close friends and like tethered. Our souls have been tethered, yet we have had these moments in our friendship where we have triggered each other, where we have kind of contracted and grown and expanded. Why do you think this is? And I think another thing we talked about on the podcast is like, gosh, I wish we had this language when we were going through, our
yes.
contraction and expansion. Why do you think it's so hard for women um
Well,
to support?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think just bringing in that word again, ambition.
Yeah.
I think with particularly, let's just say like really ambitious people like
Hmm.
you and I are, that it's like, I, I just didn't know the like, what is it? The rising tide, like,
Yes.
what is it? Like
Rises
raises
all
all,
boats or
rises all,
whatever.
but
Yeah.
right. Like I didn't understand that.
Me neither.
I really was, I guess, I don't think I was taught explicitly, but like by society that it's like, there is a limited amount of good things and success, and so to watch your back, and that you need to be the best, as opposed to like, let's all celebrate. I didn't know how to celebrate. I
Yeah.
really didn't know how to celebrate other women. Men I could handle,
Yeah.
boys I could handle growing up. Women, I just didn't. It really felt like if you were shining brighter than me, then I am less than. And so like
Yeah.
that's what I grew up with. And so to have this whole other, like, to start to understand where that came from,
Hmm.
and just to say like, I think that women, like feminine beings, we, like, are just extremely powerful
Hmm.
together. And so it's just, no, it I believe so deeply that it has been intentional to
Yeah.
separate us and keep us kind of fighting each
Against
other and scared of each
each other.
other
Yeah.
and judging each other and criticizing each other, because it not only keeps us separate, but it also keeps us feeling badly about ourselves
Hmm.
when we're in that state too. So to start to heal that, and it was so cool to have had a friendship like yours, and to know that you're over here growing in your own way, that it could be met. A
Hmm.
conversation like this could be met. Um, it's super healing for me. And I know from listeners already of this episode that people are like, holy shit, Annalisa, like sending it to their daughters, like passing it
Yeah.
along. Like that is so
Oh,
thrilling. I know.
it's the dream,
I
right?
know.
That's the dream that this next generation comes up supporting each other. And yeah, I just feel like it was a lot of wasted energy. And not that I would say that I regret anything because it all gets us here. But man, if I had taken half the energy that I spent being like, well, Annalisa booked this job, or well, this person got this job and I didn't. Because also, when it comes down to ambition, when you said, like, if your light shines brighter, then it means something about me. It's like, well, if your light shines brighter, then it means I haven't worked hard enough to be the brightest light in the room. But what if we're
Mm.
just all the brightest light? With
Yeah.
our own
Yeah.
frequency and our own, we each have this like incredibly unique blueprint of light. And what if we all just like fill a room so we're blinding everyone with how bright we are, you
Yeah.
know,
I love that.
and amplifying
Yeah.
each other instead of, yeah, it's so interesting. And I'm so thankful that we have, because the funny thing is too, we went separately with different teachers with different
Yeah.
experiences and learned the kind of the same lessons and got to come back and like compare notes.
Yeah.
um it reminds me too of, in my book, this aha moment I had. Also, shout out to Annalisa, because she was one of the first people I ever reached out and said, I think I want to start a podcast about houseplants. Like, you were truly one of the first people I ever talked to about it. So thank you for holding space for that idea so we can be here. Yay. But it just reminds me too, like, and I wrote about this in my book, but the cliff notes is, if you put a bunch of herbs in one container, they're all going to grow differently, but they can all grow together in this container. And the basil isn't looking at the chives being like, I should be growing straighter and stronger and I should smell more like a chive. And the chive isn't looking at the mint being like, yeah, but the mint gets to crawl out of the container and I have to grow up tall. Not fair. I want to be able to crawl. Like, they're all just doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're all just existing and following their genetic imprint to expand into their greatest evolution of themselves. And what if we could just do that too? Like,
Yes.
what if I could just be Maria and you could just be Annalisa, and this person can be this person and this person can be this person, and we can all just grow and evolve in a pot of humanity together. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, and that is, to me, that is exactly what soulful ambition
Yeah.
means. Is it's like we all have within us this divine blueprint of desires and dreams and longings, but we're so busy,
Yeah.
comparing it to others. But like when we can learn to tune into that Shakti Kundalini life force energy and
Yeah.
follow it, like we can really shine and like go tell your community, yeah, I was on Broadway. Like that's just part of my flower over
Yeah.
here. It's not boastful.
But check out
Yeah.
these other flowers I have too,
Yeah.
You think that's
Yes.
cool? I have a bird. um,
I love it.
okay. Everyone should go listen to our conversation on Soulful Ambition, because it was real, it was raw, it was what we hope every woman of the next generation will listen to, and our generations, and every person,
Yeah.
not just women. Um, Tell us about Soulful Ambition and where people can find us, and also what are like all of the ways people could work with you if they're interested in stepping into their ability to shine their light.
Yes. So just click right over right now to follow me on Instagram, and through that you can get to my website, and that everything is on my website. I also have a really fun practice. If you're like curious about, what is the flavor of working with Annalisa, I have a really great free practice you can click through on my website called Unleashing Your Main Character
I
Energy. And it's
love
like,
it.
who is my main character? And doing it in a really playful way. And then the podcast is there, our episode, it's the most recent episode. So yeah, all of it's right there on annalisalemming.com.
And do you have coaching availability, or I know you're
Coaching,
kind of sold out, but do you have any upcoming coaching
you know
seminars or
what
anything coming
I
up?
have coming up that might interest people is I run a group program called the Soulful Ambition Circle. And we are starting again in August. So it'll be
Oh,
August through
perfect.
the end of the year. Yeah. And it is, I'm telling you, the group of souls I know that are already joining, it is, it happens to be people in this transitional place, I would say like late 30s through their 40s,
Mm.
with big desires also a lot with families. And so we're all together doing practices, grounding together, dancing together, talking, sharing heart to heart. And like learning what our soulful ambition is together. So that is available as well. You can head
Mm.
over to the website. It's all there.
That sounds so good. I'm like, I'm gonna sign
Yeah.
up for that. Well, I love you, my friend.
I love you.
I love us in this moment. It's been many different seasons of and years of knowing you, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of us, and this is just the beginning.
Oh, you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. And oh yeah, I just love you and everything that you're doing. So keep going, keep shining, keep blooming.
Yes, keep blooming, keep growing joy, keep being so fully ambitious.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right, love
yes,
you,
yes.
friend.
Okay,
Thank
so much
you.
love.
All right, bye.